very proud to actually to see that. And so we are doing, so in short, our mission and vision of Sarawak Energy is very much aligned with the state's agenda and the state aspiration and policy direction, especially in terms of supplying renewable energy to replace hydrocarbon fuel. And as well, the other one I mentioned in my presentation early on is to electrify 100% of Sarawak before 2025. In fact, this year we should be reaching about 98.5%. And inshallah, I think in 2 years' time, we should be able to reach 100% coverage of the state. Of course, we won't say 100% because somebody will say there's some longhouse not being electrified yet. So we will probably say 99.9% in a couple of years' time. So as I said, our mission and vision is very much aligned with the state, and we continue to support the initiative, put out by the leadership. And I believe that strong political leadership and at the state level is important for us to drive this transition to green economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato'. Awesome achievement by SEB. The youngest company that has been set up just for this agenda within SCDC, of course, is SCDC Energy, headed by Robert Hardin. Over, I think short of 3 years, SCDC Energy has rolled out so many initiatives on behalf of the state government. And Robert, how does you see SCDC Energy play its further roles in rolling out the green initiatives agenda? And of course, do you see potential assistance coming from MOF or MOSTI and all these agencies at the federal side with regard to our agenda? Over to you, Robert.
Thank you, Tuan Haji. So SCDC Energy was set up back in 2019, right, as the energy arm of SCDC, Sarawak Economic Development Corporation. So our core business is downstream oil and gas marketing and trading, and of course, new energies, right? So what we are doing is we are implementing and executing sustainable, well-thought-out plans to support the hydrogen economy. We cannot just transition immediately, so we have to build up the blocks that supports it, right? So essentially what we are doing now is, like I said earlier, we are going to build a network of multi-fuel stations. So throughout Sarawak, within the next few years, we can travel without any carbon emission anymore. And of course, we have a number of, a couple of hydrogen projects. And the transition is, one of the transitioning field is biofuels, which we are looking at, going to explore, which is to produce sustainable aviation fuel. And on the question about support from the federal government, yes, we are consistently engaging with the federal side, especially like MOSTI, MIDA, and then we are also doing some EV charging network development together with MGTC, which is an agency under Ministry of Environment and Water. Yeah, so far we are getting a lot of support from federal as well, and because for us, we see it as we are leading the change to hydrogen economy for Malaysia in Sarawak. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And just to add on, Robert has been called over to meet up with the Deputy Chief Minister of Sabah for the same reason, i.e. they want to implement the same system of multi-fuel refilling station. In other words, if Sabah does implement these multi-fuel refilling stations, meaning to say our hydrogen-driven cars will be going all the way to KK and return, right? Thank you, Robert. Mr. Abang Arabi, the Senior Vice President of Corporate Strategy of Petros. I know through your presentation, Petros, I mean, you are achieving your 5 years benchmark, or rather in existence, just over 5 years. You have done a lot, right? But what do you think will be your main contribution towards the green energy initiative? And do you see the potential collaboration with Petronas or Shell or other petroleum companies in the region?
Okay, thanks for that question, Tuan Haji. Certainly whatever we plan in Petros will certainly be aligned with the state ambition, yeah. Especially we are well guided under the Sarawak post-COVID development strategy 2030. So if you look at the main theme of the strategy, it's about balancing economic growth and environmental sustainability, yeah. To me, environmental sustainability achieved through energy transition is not a switch. Yeah, it will not happen overnight. It's really a journey. Yeah, it's a journey about gradual transition of how we use our energy, yeah? And the way we use the energy, the way we utilize our resources within the state. Yeah, and I'm proud to say that Petros, indeed, as I've presented earlier on, is really part of this journey. Yeah, the way we support the energy transition in terms of encouraging, promoting, developing the infrastructure to promote greater use of gas in the state. Yeah, and as you know, and Dato' Syabrini alluded to that earlier on. Natural gas is I would say, the bridging fuel. Yeah, as we in the transition towards a cleaner fuel. I mean, in fact, if you look at European Union, they consider natural gas as a green energy already. Yeah, and from my understanding as well, as the world population grow, the demand for energy continue to grow, and for us to completely rely on renewable energy or hydrogen would be quite far-reaching. I mean, this would be quite a big challenge. So in that context, I'm confident that certainly natural gas will be quite an important mix, yeah, to meet our future energy. So, but nonetheless, as you've mentioned about Petros being a young company, indeed, we are an integrated oil and gas company. For us to remain relevant in the industry for moving into the future, we need to take environmental sustainability seriously. So as we speak, Petros is indeed developing our ESG roadmap, just like we've developed our Sarawak Gas roadmap, including carbon offset strategy, yeah, to achieve a net zero by 2050. Our strategy may include CCS, yeah, may include nature-based solutions and other potential renewable opportunities. So, to conclude, I believe with our ESG strategy, together with the state, with other agencies, I'm confident that Sarawak can and will play a leading role in the region's low-carbon economy.
Thank you, Bang. The last
the last
panelist.
questions,
Yes.
yeah. I think if I may repeat, the question is about whether we can collaborate,
Yeah.
or we need to collaborate with Petronas or Shell, that sort of thing. Yes, I mean, as we all realize, the energy transition is a big undertaking. Yeah, it's a big undertaking. Yeah. I mean, it needs a lot of involvement with a lot of stakeholders, the government, regulators, energy and engineering companies, R&D and financiers, etc. Furthermore, those in the industry, sizable carbon offset projects are typically run in billions of ringgits and also carry a lot of risk. Yeah. So for any one entity to undertake it alone will be a big challenge.
Exactly.
So in that essence, really, in my view, collaborations and partnerships with major companies like Petronas, like Shell, like companies from Korea, for example. Yeah, I mean, would certainly expect it to make things successful.
Thank you, Abang.
Okay,
with that, Abang, you said that there is a need for collaboration. Korea just mentioned, literally, you need about 20 over million tons of hydrogen. And from Sarawak, you're only getting about 100,000 tons. That's your target production. And of course, you have invested in other places as well. Dr. Lee, on behalf of the Korean government, how do you see our state government's very firm stance on this agenda, right? On this green agenda? Do you see there will be a lot more opportunities, a lot more corporations will be coming over, like to partner with Petros or SCC Energy or SCB or whoever to embark on this production of hydrogen or other related agendas with regard to this green energy? Over to you, Dr. Lee.
Yes, thank you for your question. First of all, I'd like to say that Korea and Sarawak has very strong and long-lasting tie in terms of the energy sector, because we are importing more than 40 million tons of LNG, and more than 10% of it is loaded in Bintulu, and the Sarawak is one of the biggest partner in our LNG industry. On the other hand, in a rural area in Sarawak, very close to your Indonesian border, Korean companies, Nuriflex, Shinha, they are working on the microgrid to help the people in the rural area to get the sustainable supply of electricity. And today, I'm very hopeful that our tie will get even stronger, because I see the passion and very clear vision of the Sarawak and the government of Sarawak about the leading this ASEAN region in terms of green economy and carbon neutrality. And actually, after we announced our hydrogen economy roadmap in 2019, we have been, until that, we have been approached by many promising hydrogen exporting countries like Argentina, Chile, Saudi Arabia, Australia. We have a long list of them. But I think that Sarawak has very bright future in Korean hydrogen economy, because you are one of the closest exporter to Korea, and you have very stable business environment, and we can have very good chemistry, because Korea will have a very world-class clean energy technology, and you have very abundant clean energy resources, and that will fit for each other. And I think I will go back to Korea and spread this very good news that the Sarawak is hydrogen ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. To wrap up this session, I just posed a burning question, because in Rotterdam recently, Dr. Muhammad and YB Dr. Azlan, we actually won our quest to host the Asia-Pacific Hydrogen Summit, right? And that was against the bidding from Japan as well as Australia, if not mistaken. And that is nothing short of, because they believe that our government is stable, our government is firm on this agenda. And what is the preparation from the state, from the ministry, from EPU, YB Doctor, for this 2023 and 2024 event?
Yeah, thank you, Haji Hadi. When we were in Rotterdam about 3 weeks ago, and the Premier spoke on Sarawak's commitment on the hydrogen economy and hydrogen industry, everybody got very impressed. Yeah, the whole delegates and countries which attended the summit, it's a world summit, got very impressed by Sarawak. And we wanted to bid just for 1 year, which was 2024. But we end up winning the bid for 2 years. which is 2023 and 2024. So this is a very big task for all of us, but inshallah, God willing, we will prepare, we will do our best. Probably for 2023, it will be just a small conference, and then the one in 2024 will be the real World Summit. Yeah, thank you very much.
Dr. Mark, you want to add? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Yang Berhormat, for highlighting that. Obviously, we have the world is behind us on this hydrogen economy development, and as what Yang Berhormat Deputy Minister mentioned just now, that we are getting more than what we expect. So that is a form of endorsement by the world to Sarawak to lead this hydrogen economy in this region by winning the Asia Pacific Hydrogen Summit and Conference and Summit, Summit and Exhibition, which is what do you call, and against Japan and Australia. So Sarawak was chosen, as what Datuk Sabini mentioned. If you look at the map, the next closest refueling station is in Asia, Southeast Asia is in Sarawak. You know, so something that we can be proud of. So I believe with the confidence of the audience today, especially with the Korean, who will eventually participate in this Asia Pacific Conference eventually, and probably sponsoring some. I mean, I have nothing much to say, but it's going to be a success. Yeah. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, panelists, especially to YB, Dr. Hazlan, Dr. Muhammad, and everybody on stage today. Time is a constraint, and we're waiting for our premier to turn up to close this ceremony, and we would like to give you a big round of applause to the panelists. Thank you very much, and over to you, MC. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Tuan Haji and the panelists, for an insightful session. You may return to your seats as we are reaching the highlight of the event. Please remain seated while waiting for the arrival of the Premier of Sarawak.
Dance.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and put your hands together for our guest of honor, the Right Honorable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari, Bintun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak. Assalamualaikum, a very good morning, warmest greetings and salam Sarawakku sayang. The Right Honorable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari Bintun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak. The Honorable Datuk Sri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hian, Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Minister for Public Health, Housing and Local Government. His Excellency Lee Chi-bum, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Malaysia. The Honorable Datuk Sri Richard Riyad Jaim, Special Envoy of the Prime Minister to East Asia. The Honorable Dr. Haji Hazlan Abang Haji Hipni, Deputy Minister for Energy and Environmental Sustainability Sarawak. Delegation from the Embassy of the Republic of Korea to Malaysia. Distinguished guests, participants of Sarawak-Korea Energy Business Forum, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sarawak-Korea Energy Business Forum 2022 with the theme Accelerating the Sarawak-Korea Strategic Energy Partnership. We are indeed very blessed to have the presence of the Right Honorable Premier of Sarawak to grace our function today and to officiate the closing of this forum. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are deeply honored and most pleased to call upon the Honorable Dr. Haji Hazlan Abang Haji Hipni, Deputy Minister for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, to invite the Right Honorable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari, Bintun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of the Sarawak, for the keynote address and thereafter officiate the closing of the forum.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. The Honorable Datuk Sri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hian, Deputy Premier of Sarawak. His Excellency Lee Chi-bum, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Malaysia, and his delegates. The Honorable Datuk Sri Richard Riyad Jaim, Special Envoy of the Prime Minister to East Asia. The Honorable Dr. Haji Hazlan Abang Hipni, Deputy Minister for Energy and Environmental Sustainability Sarawak. Distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to stand before you this morning at the Sarawak-Korea Energy Business Forum, co-hosted by Economic Planning Unit Sarawak and Embassy of the Republic of Korea in Malaysia. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate all speakers, panelists, and participants for their valuable contribution that helped to make this Energy Business Forum a success. This conference theme, Accelerating the Sarawak-Korea Strategic Energy Partnership could not be more timely as the world focuses on ensuring universal access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all, thus aligning to the 2015 United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 7, that is affordable and clean energy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have experienced myriad of challenges that COVID-19 has put us through for the past 2 years. Even His Excellency could not come to Sarawak for the past 2 years. Most economies went into recession as many lockdowns and quarantine measures disrupted the market and global supply chain. Sarawak GDP contracted by 7.1% in 2020 before rebounding to an estimated growth of between 3 to 4% in 2021. And whilst we expect the global economy to strengthen further this year, geopolitical tension between Russia and Ukraine has intensified the disruption of supply chain and caused greater uncertainty. Commodity prices, particularly energy and food, spring up quickly, dampening the pace of recovery of the global economy. I believe the volatility in energy prices that rose from $70 per barrel in 2021 to now more than $110 per barrel has put additional pressure onto the economy of the Republic of Korea, I think a country that relies heavily on imported energy. This is particularly in times when the fight against the pandemic is not fully over. We now see how uncertainties surface in different structures and how they bring the cause of economic disorders. That being said, Albert Einstein used to say, in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarawak wants to seize these opportunities and emerge as a stronger region. Hence, we have embarked on a full-fledged transformation to capitalize on mega trends around the world. We are now implementing the Sarawak Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030, and our focus is on restructuring and diversifying our economy into high-value downstream industry while creating a thriving society that is driven by data and innovation. Most importantly, we want to ensure our transformative journey takes us towards economic prosperity, social inclusivity, and sustainable environment. I am happy to share with you that one of the key drivers of growth under PCDS 2030 is renewable energy. Sarawak and Republic of Korea have long established a good relationship since 1970s. We are no longer strangers to one another. That's why I had a very long discussion with the ambassador just now, as a friend. Further to that, our trade relationship has become increasingly important alongside with energy development in recent years. In fact, Republic of Korea is our third biggest importer of liquefied natural gas LNG after Japan and China. In 2020, Sarawak exported 4.9 million tons of LNG with value of 5.9 billion ringgit to Republic of Korea. We have awarded USD 1.07 billion contract to Samsung Engineering Company Limited to provide licensing, engineering, procurement, construction, and commissioning services for the Sarawak methanol project at Tanjung Kidurong, Bintulu. Ladies and gentlemen, we know energy is at the heart of development, where it powers industries, modern agriculture, cutting-edge medical technology, and transportation, computers, and other sectors of the economy. In addition, the energy sector plays key role in addressing climate change challenge. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC report released in August 2021 highlighted the need for reduction in global emission in the coming decade to stop or mitigate climate change. It is rather critical and alarming because even under the best case scenario for greenhouse gas emission, Asia will continue to face the effects of climate change. Amid a growing concern and urgency in tackling climate change, the global energy landscape is witnessing a major transformation towards affordable, reliable, and clean energy. Hence, there is no choice between protecting the environment and growing the economy. Those of us who believe in a more sustainable future must ride on the opportunity now. In this case, I am glad Sarawak and South Korea are on the same page, where your country pushed to reduce the reliance on coal and nuclear in power generation. Sarawak, as a resource-rich region, is determined to capitalize on renewable sources to power the various activities in Sarawak. Sarawak also positioned herself to be Southeast Asia's powerhouse through affordable, reliable, and renewable energy. Sarawak will maintain at least 60% of our power generation capacity mix from renewable sources by 2030. I believe the provision of sustainable energy is prerequisite to sustainable economic and social development. Leveraging on low carbon opportunities in nature-based solution, coupled with technology, Sarawak is developing a hydrogen economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe the time for hydrogen has arrived. After several decades of waiting for the potential of hydrogen as an energy carrier, hydrogen is now ready to assume a leading role in the global energy and economic transition. Almost 90% of global GDP has put forward hydrogen support policies or initiatives. Global hydrogen market is picking up speed with clean hydrogen production capacity more than double since January 2021. By 2050, the world's economies and energy system will look greener. The projected reduction in renewable energy and electrolyzer costs, as well as the need for deeper decarbonization of all economic sectors, will drive the emergence of a global market for green hydrogen and its derivatives. This is mainly because hydrogen is an essential component of a net zero energy system for deep decarbonization that is required to meet the current climate targets and limit the temperature increase below 2 degrees Celsius. Riding on this new rising potential, Sarawak is developing our public transport system. The automated rapid transit ART or autonomous rapid transit will be integrated with digital solution to create seamless experience using hydrogen fuel cell. I believe such initiative creates further opportunity to explore carbon offsets projects, and we expect this eco-friendly integrated public transportation system will be able to reduce carbon footprint in Kuching City by 15% by 2030. I am sure Republic of Korea also sees the great potential hydrogen has as green solution provider in industries for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarawak shall create an ideal ecosystem for hydrogen economy to be pioneer in Asia Pacific to explore, innovate, and produce green hydrogen. That being the case, I am glad to see South Korean companies like Samsung Engineering, POSCO, and Lotte Chemical from South Korea had jumped on the bandwagon and partner with Sarawak Economic Development Corporation, SEDC, to develop an environmentally friendly hydrogen and green ammonia plant in Bintulu. Once completed, the plant will produce 630,000 metric tons of green ammonia, 600,000 metric tons of blue ammonia, 220,000 metric tons of green hydrogen, of which 7,000 metric tons will be for domestic use, and the rest will be exported to South Korea. Typically, green refers to zero carbon products produced using renewable energy, and electrolysis, and blue to a production method that uses natural gas paired with carbon capture technologies to produce low carbon products. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarawak has been identified as one of the potential regions in the world for carbon capture, utilization, and storage, CCUS. CCUS can fast-track the growth of Southeast Asia economies on the path to net zero emission. CCUS goes beyond fossil fuel application and contribute to emissions reduction of the power and industrial assets, while underpinning new economic opportunities associated with the production of low-carbon hydrogen and ammonia. In Sarawak, we have recently passed the Land Code Amendment Bill 2022, which gives us better position to develop CCUS as a powerful mitigation technology towards low-carbon economy. Therefore, I welcome Korean companies to work with Sarawak to explore the potential in CCUS. The opportunity lies in the initial stage of capturing and separating CO2 from processing and production of the green ammonia, methanol, or from the combustion flue gases. This CO2 that is captured is then compressed into a liquid or supercritical fluid ready for transportation. I believe the cooperation between Korea and Sarawak will enable faster and more efficient deployment of CCUS for development CO2 transport and storage infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, just now I have brief discussion with the ambassador on the sustainable aviation fuel. Sarawak is turning the attention towards development of a robust production of alternative aviation fuels, such as sustainable aviation fuel. SAF could be the key to sustainable air travel in the transition for low carbon fuel and to accelerate and to decarbonize aviation industry. The thing that we are doing now is what we mean by the term sustainable, and it is very important to know what is sustainable aviation. We want to be sure that we are developing this fuel to not only take into account greenhouse gas reduction, but the amount of water usage and appropriate land use that goes with making these fuels. I am aware that Korean Air will use SAF on its route between Paris and Seoul. The airline would reduce greenhouse gas emission by up to 80% and taking bold steps towards greener aviation. As a step forward, Sarawak through SCDC is collaborating with Airbus and Rolls-Royce through Aerospace Malaysia Innovation Center, AMIC, undertaking research and development on green hydrogen and fuel cell as future aviation fuel in the Mark Kuching. This SAF collaboration is a venture into developing biofuels for aviation, in which the aviation industry has net zero carbon emission goals. Biodiesel and e-methanol could be another avenue contributing to the aviation and marine industry as low carbon fuels. Expanding domestic SAF production can help sustain the benefits of our biofuel industry and forge new economic benefits, creating and securing employment opportunities across the country. I believe there is tremendous opportunity between Sarawak and South Korea towards a future fuel with SAF that could unlock additional social environmental, economic benefits, from creating jobs to restoring soil and watershed to improving aircraft performance. There is a need to address the gap between jet fuel price and the cost of sustainable fuels to be more competitive. We need to reduce financial risk to pave the way for greater investment in production infrastructure. The key to greater acceptance and deployment of SAF is reduction in costs. That is where we are doing this pilot project in our research. We look forward to partner with Republic of Korea, especially in research, development, and commercialization of improved production technologies and innovative sustainable feedstock. Ladies and gentlemen, as Sarawak transform and push towards sustainable energy powerhouse, regional and international partnerships are instrumental in ensuring energy security and reliability. Sarawak welcomes partnership across the value chain. Together, I believe there are plenty of exciting opportunities we can capture and realize. And together, we can press in our charge towards addressing climate change and creating a sustainable energy future for all of us. We assure you that we have put in place robust policies and procedures to ensure integrity, transparency, and good governance that will certainly improve the ease of doing business in Sarawak. I believe this platform, this forum, marks the beginning to a robust collaboration between Sarawak and Korea in energy development as well as on the issues of sustainability. I believe the ambassador has that background as a former minister in charge of environment. In Korea, we can work together to preserve our environment and explore other opportunities in terms of technologies for us to have the issues facing the world today. Though Sarawak is a small country, but we are blessed with the resources, we need the technology and the expertise for us to add value to our resources and thereby contributing to the needs of the world for a green environment. With that, His Excellency, let us work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Premier. Please remain on stage. And now we invite His Excellency Lee Chi-bom and distinguished guests to join the Right Honorable Premier on stage and proceed to the contract signing table to co-witness the contract signing of Semandang Microgrid project between Sarawak Energy Berhad and Korean Consortium. Signatories and witnesses from both Sarawak Energy Berhad and Korean Consortium, please take your seats at the contract signing table. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite our signatories to begin with the contract signing and the Right Honorable Premier of Sarawak and His Excellency Lee Chi-bom and distinguished guests to witness the signing. The signatory from Sarawak Energy, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Haji Syarbini Suhaili, Group Chief Executive Officer, witnessed by George Chapman, General Manager Legal and Commercial Services. Signatories from Nuriflex Co Limited, Kim Han-soo, Vice President, witnessed by Baek Jun-seon, Director of New Reflex Co. Limited. And last but not least, signatory from KH Shinhwa SNC Co. Limited, Min Jong-ki, Chief Executive Officer, and witnessed by Kang Seong-wook, Director, KH Shinhwa Co. Limited. We now invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Haji Sharbini and Kim Han-soo to exchange contract documents witnessed by the Honorable Premier of Sarawak, His Excellency and distinguished guests. Next, exchange of documents between Yang Berbahagia Datuk Haji Sharbini and Min Jong-ki. With that, the contract signing of Semandang Microgrid project between Sarawak Energy Berhad and Korean Consortium has been brought to completion, and once again, we thank our guest of honor. Now we call upon our guest of honor and our distinguished guests to proceed back to the seats for the group photo session. All the participants, please rise up to take a group photo with the Premier and His Excellency. Thank you. Once again, we wish to formally record our most sincere thanks and gratitude to the Right Honorable Premier of Sarawak for gracing our event with his presence this afternoon. We now have the pleasure and honor in calling upon the Honorable Dr. Haji Hazlan to invite and accompany the Right Honorable Premier of Sarawak and all distinguished guests to proceed for lunch served at Tubau 1, 2 and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, let's accord our guest of honor with a huge round of applause.